Evening and welcome to the April 21st, 2021 Smithtown Planning Board meeting. Matt?
Good evening, members of the Planning Board. The Planning Department would like to recommend the following items be recessed because the applications are not ready to be heard this time. That's a final subdivision, number 1180, Old Dock Land Division.
Any questions from the board on this recess matter? Okay, I move that we recess item 1 as read.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? So recess.
Okay,
Sorry, Matt.
Yep. The next item under public hearings is recommendation to the Board of Zoning Appeals for Gibbs Pond Estates in Nesconset. Zoom, let me just make it so everyone can see it better.
Much better.
This matter involves a request from the Board of Zoning Appeals to the Planning Board to review and issue a recommendation regarding variances currently pending before the BZA. That's case number 18502. For the above referenced subdivision, the yield of this property in strict compliance with the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations is 1 lot. The applicant is requesting the following variances to effectively increase the yield to 2 lots. That's on lot 1, reduce minimum lot frontage from 100 feet to 84 feet. And on lot 2, reduce minimum lot frontage from 100 feet to 84 feet. The planning board has the authority to grant variances within subdivisions. However, pursuant to section 322 30.4 of the zoning ordinance, the planning board does not have the authority to grant variances that would alter the density of a zoning district. This is an application to subdivide a 1.176 acre parcel into 2 single-family residential lots. There's an existing dwelling to be removed. The property has approximately 173 feet of frontage on Gibbs Pond Road. The site is zoned R15 and is surrounded by R15 zoning. The minimum lot area requirement R15 is 15,000 square feet. The applicant proposes each lot to have approximately 25,000 square feet of lot area. Both lots comply with the minimum side yard and total side yard requirements of the R15 zoning district. The minimum lot frontage requirement in the R15 zoning district is 100 feet. This subdivision proposes each lot to have 84 feet of lot frontage. As mentioned above, this will require a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals. Article 16, Section 2776 of Town Law authorizes the BZA to grant area variances within a subdivision, but requires the BZA request a written recommendation from the Planning Board concerning the proposed variances. Town law does not describe the criteria that the Planning Board is supposed to use in developing a recommendation to the Board of Zoning Appeals. However, it seems likely that the recommendation should be based around the Planning Board's core mission regarding subdivision approval that centers on the adequacy of access and infrastructure, and to evaluate whether the subject property can be used safely for building purposes without danger to health or peril from fire, flood, drainage, or other menace to neighboring properties, or the public health, safety, and welfare. This recommendation does not examine the requested variances with respect to the 5 area variance criteria described in section 267B of Town Law, as the BZA is tasked with evaluating the requested variances with respect to those criteria. It appears that the adequacy of access and infrastructure on Gibbs Pond Road is sufficient for the proposed dwellings. Additionally, it is not anticipated that granting this variance will create any danger to the health or peril from fire, flood, drainage, or other menace to neighboring properties, or the public health, safety, and welfare. There are currently no drainage issues along Gibbs Pond Road, and all subdivisions are required to retain stormwater runoff on site. The applicant may want to consider shifting the homes further back from Gibbs Pond Road in order to reduce the visual impact of the reduced lot frontages from Gibbs Pond Road. The Planning Department offers the following resolution for the board's consideration. It's Planning Board Resolution number 2021, blank 2021, Board of Zoning Appeals recommendation for number 1193, map of Gibbs Pond Estates. Whereas the Planning Board has considered the request of the Board of Zoning Appeals for a recommendation regarding variances associated with the subdivision number 1193, map of Gibbs Pond Estates. Now therefore be it first resolved that the planning board hereby recommends the Board of Zoning Appeals approve the variances associated with the subdivision number 1193, map of Gibbs Pond Estates for the reasons presented in this memorandum. Second resolve that this recommendation pertains solely to the variance request before the Board of Zoning Appeals and not to the proposed lot layout, extent of regrading, building, location, public improvements, or other aspects of subdivision design within the purview of the planning board. And third resolve that nothing contained herein shall be construed or deemed as implicitly or explicitly approving or endorsing on the merits any subsequent request for approval of any subdivision for this property, whether or not the request arises out of any variances granted by the Board of Zoning Appeals for said property.
Thank you, Matt. Is there anyone representing the applicant who would like to speak? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. My name is Vincent Tremarco. I represent the applicant, submitted the affidavits to the planning department this afternoon. We would ask that the board adopt the recommendation of the planning department to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to be heard on this matter?
For any individuals wishing to be heard, you can either utilize the chat function or raise your hand. If you need to raise your hand, just click on the little smiley face at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a raise hand button. You got to click that again, or just put your name in chat. I'll give them another second. Okay, I don't see anyone, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing none, in the matter of number 1193, map of Gibbs Pond Estates, I move that we close the public hearing.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? The hearing is closed. And in the matter of number 1193, map of Gibbs Pond Estates, I move that we adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the planning department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? The motion is adopted.
Okay, the next item is a final subdivision for number 1168, Hops and Gardens in St. James. The applicant requests final approval to subdivide a 2.62 acre parcel into 4 single-family lots. The subdivision number 1168, map of Hops and Gardens, received conditional preliminary approval from the planning board on January 31st, 2018. The planning board also adopted a secret negative declaration for the application. The final subdivision is comprised of 3 tax lots. The site is split zoned R10 and R21. Suffolk County Tax Map 800-85-2-35 and 38 are zoned R10. And Suffolk County Tax Map number, let me just pull up the aerial. Suffolk County Tax Map number 800-85-237.1 is zone R21. The site has approximately 380 feet of frontage on Hobson Avenue, 162 feet of frontage on Park Avenue, and 200 feet of frontage on the Paper Street, Pine Street. The applicant is proposing to have 3 houses front Hobson Avenue and 1 house front Park Avenue. One of the homes on Hobson Avenue is existing and is proposed to remain. That's on lot 1. The applicant is proposing at the engineering and highway department's request to extend the pavement of Park Avenue approximately 60 feet and construct a cul-de-sac with a 50-foot radius. The applicant is also proposing to abandon a portion of Park Avenue right-of-way, which is approximately 843 square feet. The planning department has no objection to this proposal. Additionally, the applicant is proposing to dedicate to the town a 7.5-foot strip along Hobson Avenue for right-of-way widening purposes. The planning department supports this dedication. The topography of the site is relatively flat, ranging from 130 feet to 133 feet above sea level. The site contains no steep slopes, no high groundwater, and no wetlands or natural surface water features. It appears the proposal has a density that is less than permitted by the zoning ordinance. Therefore, it is not subject to the Long Island Workforce Housing Act. In order to avoid circumventing the Long Island Workforce Housing Act, the Planning Department recommends that if Lot 4 is subdivided in the future, the additional dwelling shall comply with the Long Island Workforce Housing Act. Section 248-31B of the subdivision regulations requires a subdivision to be clustered if certain conditions are present. One condition is present. One, the historic resources listed in the historic sites inventory of the town of Smithtown. The Olson House from about 1905, which is the existing house on the property to be maintained and is listed in the town's historic inventory. The Planning Department recommends clustering by preserving the existing historic house, which is being proposed, and by placing a conservation easement on the southwest corner of the property on Lot 3, as depicted on the final map. There are approximately 21 trees in the conservation area that will be preserved. The applicant is requesting several variances in connection with this subdivision. Pursuant to section 322-30.4 of the zoning ordinance, the planning board has the authority to grant the following variances. One, reduce minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 22 feet for the existing historic home. Reduce minimum setback for an accessory structure in the rear yard from 8 feet to 2 feet, and increase square footage of accessory structures in the rear yard from 750 square feet to 895 square feet. On Lot 2, reduce minimum lot area from 21,780 square feet to 20,774 square feet. Reduce minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 42 feet. And on Lot 3, reduce minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 42 feet. The Planning Department has no objection to the variance requests for the following reasons. One, the front yard variance on Lot 1 is for an existing historic home and will not create any undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. The house could be removed and a new house could be built in compliance to the front yard setback. However, granting the variance will preserve this historic resource. Two, the accessory structure on Lot 1 are the accessory structures on Lot 1 are existing and appear historic in nature and will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. Three, the front yard setback variances on Lot 2 and 3 and minimum lot area variances on Lot 2 are a result of the proposed 7.5-foot strip of land dedication to the town for right-of-way widening purposes. This dedication is at the request of the town and is not self-created by the applicant. This proposed dedication is consistent with other subdivisions that front Hobson Avenue. Therefore, the Planning Department recommends approval of these variances. Section 248-24 of the subdivision regulation states that each subdivision is required to show a park area of at least 2 acres per 100 buildings. However, the Court of Appeals has ruled that the town cannot require the reservation of park area unless the planning board determines on a case-by-case basis that the need for a parkland exists with respect to the individual subdivision. Based on the community facilities study in the town's comprehensive plan, there is a need for parkland in the neighborhood in which the subdivision is situated. The subdivision shares of meeting the need is approximately 0.018 acres. In cases where the planning board determines that a suitable park cannot be located or is otherwise not practical, the subdivider is required to pay a cash equivalent prior to filing the map. Given the location and small size of the subdivision, a dedication for park space would not be practical. Therefore, the Planning Department recommends that the board condition final plat approval upon the submission of a park fee of $12,600, the approximate value of 0.018 acres in the R10 and R21 zoning districts. Park Avenue and Hobson Avenue have been identified by the Planning Department as residential access streets with low traffic volume. The Planning Department recommends sidewalks be waived within this subdivision. The Engineering, Highway, and Traffic Safety Departments have found the application acceptable. The Department of Environment and Waterways recommends conditions of approval related to site preparation and land clearing work. Additional information: 1, letters assuring availability of utility service have been received from the St. James Water District and PSEG Long Island. 2, Smithtown Central School District has acknowledged the subdivision. 3, the amount of the inspection fee is estimated at $8,571. 4, the amount of the park fee is $12,600. 5, the amount of the performance bond is estimated at $107,143. 6, the amount of the cash deposit is $2,000. 7, the amount of the performance bond to be posted with the town is $105,143. The Planning Department offers the following resolution. for the board's consideration. Planning Board Resolution number blank 2021, the final plat variance for number 1168 map of Hobson Gardens. Whereas the Planning Board has considered the request of Carmine Zuccolillo for the following variances within subdivision number 1168 map of Hobson Gardens pursuant to section 322-30.4 of the Building Zone Ordinance of the Code of the Town of Smithtown. Now therefore be it first resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants variances from the Building Zone Ordinance of the Code of the Town of Smithtown within the subdivision number 1168 map of Hobson Gardens as follows. Below on the memo is the modification of dimensional requirements. This table shall be shown on the final map to be filed in the office of the Suffolk County Clerk. A fee of $1,500 is required for these variances. Planning Board Resolution number blank 2021 subdivision final plat approval for number 1168 map of Hobson Gardens. Whereas the Planning Board has considered the request of Carmine Zuccolillo to subdivide 2.62 acres into 4 single-family lots. Now, therefore, be it first resolved that the final plat number 1168 map of Hobson Garden is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions: A, posting of a performance bond in form and amount specified by a separate resolution of the Planning Board and for a term of 2 years. B, posting of a general liability insurance policy to run concurrently with the term of the performance bond and in accordance with other provisions of section 248 of the Code of the Town of Smithtown subdivision regulations. C, payment of an inspection fee and cash deposit as established by separate resolution of the Planning Board. D, all necessary dedication papers shall be submitted to the applicant by the applicant to the Planning Department in complete and accurate form as one package, including but not limited to the performance bond, liability insurance policy, title report, and all required fees. E, the final plat shall include all information required by section 248.15 and 248.16 of the town subdivision regulations, the conditions of approval, and the office of the Suffolk County Clerk. A check print of the final plat shall be submitted to the Planning Department for review before the Mylars are prepared. F, payment of a park fee of $12,600. G, final approval of the drainage and regrading plan to the satisfaction of the town engineer. H, if lot is subdivided in the future, the additional, so I'm going to take the word dwelling and strike that and put lot. So it should say, if lot 4 is subdivided in the future, the additional lot shall comply with the Long Island Workforce Housing Act. That's condition H. I, a conservation easement shall be placed on lot 4 as depicted on the final map. Removal of trees, alteration of land and structures, except fences, shall be prohibited in this conservation easement. J, building envelopes shall be depicted on the final map. K, the label proposed road acquisition on Park Avenue shall be changed to proposed road abandonment. Approval of the subdivision is not an approval of the road abandonment. L, the applicant or builder shall contact the Town of Smithtown Highway Department for their direction on final saw cut location at Park Avenue cul-de-sac, and also the installation of traffic bearing slab over existing drainage leaching pools that will now be under the roadway. And M, prior to the commencement of construction activities at the subject parcel, including land clearing and other site preparation work, the applicant shall abide by the following conditions. 1, all limits of clearing and any individual trees to be preserved within clearing areas must be marked with snow fencing or orange mesh construction fencing. Said fencing shall be located no closer to the trunk of any tree to be preserved than the drip line of said tree. This area to be preserved shall be as indicated in the tree preservation and land clearing plan prepared by Elizabeth G. McQuilkin, licensed land surveyor and dated September 17th, 2017. 2, upon completion of the installation of fencing as required above, the applicant shall provide written notice to the Department of Environment and Waterways requesting inspection of the limits of clearing as marked in the field by the cited fencing. 3, the applicant shall not commence construction activities, including land clearing or other site preparation work, until the marked limits of clearing are approved in writing by the Environmental Protection Director. 4, the snow fencing or orange mesh construction fencing used to delineate the limits of clearing shall be maintained in place by the applicant until the completion of all land clearing and grading activities at the subject parcel. Second, resolved that the chairman of the planning board is hereby authorized to sign the final plat, hereby approving said plat after the town board has accepted a performance bond of satisfactory form and amount. Third, resolve that the conditional final approval of said final plat shall expire 180 days after the date of this resolution and within 62 days after the chairman of the planning board signs the final maps of this plat, unless said plat shall have been duly filed or recorded by the owner in the office of the Suffolk County Clerk. And the last resolution, planning board resolution number blank 2021, authorization to sign performance bond estimate for number 1168 map of Hobson Gardens. Whereas the town departments of engineering, highway, traffic safety, and planning have prepared a performance bond estimate to cover the cost of all required improvements. Now therefore be it first resolved that the chairman of the planning board is authorized to sign the performance bond estimate for number 1168 map of Hobson Gardens in the amount of $107,143 and establish an inspection fee of $8,571 and a cash deposit of $2,000. Therefore, the amount of the performance bond to be posted with the town shall be $105,143.
Thank you, Matt. Is there anyone representing the applicant who would like to be heard on, would like to speak on this matter? And if so, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Vincent
Tremarco. I
Tremarco.
represent the applicant. We've submitted the posting affidavit to planning this afternoon. We concur with the recommendation of the planning board and the recommended resolutions. I just like to clarify in the first resolution, let's see, subparagraph 8, if lot 4 is subdivided in the future, the additional lot shall comply with Long Island workforce housing. And I had spoken to Mr. Collado this afternoon with respect to the possibility that the applicant may seek other property to conform with workforce housing if he subdivides lot number 4. This has been done in the past. In fact, we did it with the Core Road 10-lot subdivision and bought a property in San Remo and built a house to conform with workforce housing. So the only issue that, or concern that I have is that H does not preclude us from doing that. And it's in, I can say that it's in conformance with workforce housing. We are allowed to do that. With that said, I agree with the recommendation of the planning department and ask the board to adopt same.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to be heard on this matter? Are there any questions from the board? Nicole, there isn't anybody out there?
No, Chairwoman.
Okay, thank you.
You want to give him like a minute, just in case?
Sure, I'll just remind folks before we close, if you do want to speak, you can use the chat function. Just put your name in there and I'll call it. Or you can raise your hand. It's a little smiley face at the bottom of your button. Sorry, at the bottom of your screen. Just click that button and click the raise hand button. If you have an older version of Zoom, it'll be on your participants sidebar, which if it's not showing up on the right of your screen, you have to click the participants button and it'll show up. I'll give them another second.
Thank you. Oh, looks like nobody's going. All clear. Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay, then in the matter of number 1168, map of Hobson Gardens, I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? The hearing is closed. And in the matter of number 1168, map of Hobson Gardens, I move that we approve the variances as listed in the table of modifications in accordance with the recommendation of the planning department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? The motion is adopted. In the matter of number 1168, final plat approval, map of Hobson Gardens, I move that we adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the planning department.
second,
All those in favor?
aye,
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion is adopted. And in the matter of number 1168, map of Hobson Gardens, I move that we approve the performance bond estimate as recommended by the planning department.
second,
All those in favor?
second,
Thank you. All those in favor?
aye,
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion is adopted. And I move that we adopt the minutes of the March 10th, 2021 meeting of the planning board.
I second,
All those in favor?
aye,
Opposed? None? Motion is adopted. Now, motion to adjourn.
second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned.